guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about CEUs. What are they and what's going on? If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, CEUs or continuing education units, what are they? This is to support your medical coding certification. In intellectual fields like, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a medical coder, it does require you to have continuing education. And so because of this, the associations, AHIMA, the American Health Information Management Association, and AAPC, the American Academy of Professional Coders, both require their credential holders to be able to maintain their certification to get continuing education units. Everybody who has a medical coding certification has to do this. Now, why do we have to do this? Because health information, medical coding, the rules, everything updates. There's more information, there's new technologies that come out every year, the rules change, and there's a lot of things that get updated all the time. So in order to stay ahead of the educational curve, we all have to get these continuing education units. Now, the associations both require their credential holders to have different amounts. So we're going to start off with AAPC because I know the majority of my audience is AAPC. I'm with AHIMA, but I talk about AAPC as well because I believe that you all should have your choice when it comes to what association you belong to. You do not have to be a member of both associations. AAPC does require you to be a member of their organization in order to have your certification. If you don't, they will revoke your credential. But let's go ahead and get started with their CEU requirements. So if you have one certification with AAPC, you will have a 36 continuing education unit requirement every 2 years. Now, both associations have the every 2 years requirement. So you have 2 years to come up with 36 continuing education units, which is not bad, when you think about it. And you can find these by going to the association meetings, right? You can get continuing education units there. I know in their publication for AAPC, they have like quizzes and things like that that you can do and you can send in. And I think that there's a fee for those as well. There may or may not, okay, guys? I'm not a member of AAPC, but I have heard of some quizzes that do have a charge to them. So just be sure to look out for those. Now, if you have 2 certifications with AAPC, it is 40 continuing education units every 2 years. Sometimes employers will have CEUs as a benefit of employment. And that is the situation at my facility. We do get continuing education units as a benefit of employment. So if you are employed, that is something that could potentially be a benefit. Be sure to ask. If you are out there looking for a job, you can ask when you're in the interview. One of the questions is, will I get continuing education units? Is there anything, to support that? So they'll be able to answer that for you. For 3 certifications with AAPC, it goes up to 44 continuing education units. This is why I caution folks to be very careful when it comes to adding on additional credentials, especially when all employers are looking for is for you to be certified and have 1 certification. I have yet to see a job listing that says candidate must have multiple credentials to get this job. Okay, I had 1 certification for many years. I currently hold 2. I had 1 for many years and I did very well. Okay, so that is something that you guys got to keep in mind. I'm always harping on y'all about, be very careful with the additional credentials, especially if you're brand new, because I believe that if you are brand new, you need time to get experience before you start tacking on all these credentials. These credentials are not going to do anything for you except for extend your name. It is not impressive, and managers that know the industry are not going to be impressed by them either. It is not going to get you more money, and it will not get you hired faster. Then if you have 4 certifications, you have to report 48 continuing education units. 5 or more certifications require 52 continuing education units every 2 years. Now, depending on what additional certifications you have with AAPC. Some of those additional certifications require specific CEUs that are going to be more expensive, or they're going to have to be more specific, and you're going to have to be able to look for them and find them. So if you are a CIRCC, you have to get 16 of these required CEUs must be related to interventional radiology or cardiovascular coding. If you are a CPMA, which a lot of people, that seemed to be a hot one for a while there, that's just auditing. Again, when you are a medical coder, 16 must be related to auditing. CPCO must have 16 related to compliance. CDEO must have 16 related to documentation. CPPM must have 16 related to practice management, and 8 must be specialty specific for each specialty earned. Okay, so if you have a specialty one that's not one of these, then they say you have to have 8 that are specifically related to those. And it says here, we have contracted with only 3 companies that may provide training that will qualify for the 8 specific CEUs required each year, or 16 per renewal period, to maintain the CIRCC credential. These companies, and then it tells them there, although other pre-approved vendors may provide interventional radiology training, the CIRCC CEU requirements must come from one of the above mentioned companies. So again, you have to be very careful when you're getting these additional credentials that you're getting them from the appropriate source. So I'm going to leave it, again, I'm going to leave this link so that way you guys can check this out. So if that's of interest to you, you're going to know where to go. And it says, note, events must be specifically approved for CIRCC, CPMA, CPCO, CDEO, CPPM, and all other specialty credentials based on relevance and level of difficulty in order to be eligible for CEUs. And then it has click more for details. Once CIRCC, CPMA, CPCO, CDEO, CPPM, and specialty CEUs have been met, the remaining credits due can be obtained from any pre-approved program. If CEUs have been prorated due to corporate membership addition, this may exceed the cap of 52 CEUs every 2 years. And again, AAPC does accept AHIMA CEUs, but there's a caveat to that, so be sure to watch for that. It has to come from AHIMA. It can't come from like an outside vendor. So just keep that in mind. But AAPC does accept AHIMA CEUs. Now, it says, pay membership every year and submit your CEUs online in the CEU tracker every other year. CEUs are reported every 2 years on or before your membership due date. You must pay your dues every year, and even on a year when you are not required to report CEUs. That year, your CEUs are due. That year that your CEUs are due is based on the month of your membership, and then it breaks down the month of the membership and when it's due and that kind of thing. So again, a very helpful resource if you are going to go here and you're going to do this. Now, again, guys, keep this in mind. You have to pay your $190 membership every single year to AAPC. Some employers will have it as a benefit of employment that they will pay for your association membership dues. Again, another question you can ask, but not all of them do. So that's something that you have to keep in mind when you're getting into these organizations. Now, for AHIMA, AHIMA does not require you to be a member. And we're going to go ahead and read these now. So CEU requirements. If you have one AHIMA credential, you must earn either 20 or 30 CEUs per recertification cycle. See table below. If you have a CCA, CCS, CCSP, or a RHIT, you must earn 20 CEUs. If you have a CHPS, CHDA, CDIP, or an RHIA, you must earn 30 CEUs. Now, if you have more than one AHIMA certification, you must earn 10 additional CEUs per credential, up to a maximum of 50 CEUs. If you have 30 CEU requirement, because you have the CHPS, the CHDA, CDIP, or RHIA, per cycle certification, your base CEUs is 30, and each additional credential is 10 CEUs up to 50 CEUs per cycle. If you have only a 20 CEU base, which is because you have the CCA, the CCS, the CCSP, or the RHIT, per cycle certifications, you must earn your base CEUs is 20, with each additional credential is 10 CEUs and up to 50 CEUs per cycle. These CEUs cannot be duplicated or used for more than one credential. For example, a CCA who has 20 CEUs plus a RHIT will have 30 CEUs per cycle. Okay, so every 2 years they have to be able to report 30 CEUs. The CDIP has a 30 CEU base plus one other credential would make it 40 CEUs per cycle. So it talks about when to enter in CEUs. Now, it says the recertification fees. If you hold only one credential, the recertification fee is $218. If you hold more than one credential, the first certification fee is $218, and each additional certification is $50. Note, credential holders who are not AHIMA members pay the above fees on a biennial basis, okay, so every 2 years. And then credential holders who are AHIMA members pay a reduced recertification fee on a biennial basis. The cost of the recertification fees, and this is the recertification fees, is like their charge for just reporting them, okay? Everybody has this, everybody. The cost of your recertification fee will be based on your membership status. Your recertification fees will be invoiced in your AHIMA CEU center. Payment must be submitted before your recertification cycle end date, and the recertification fee invoice will not populate until the required number of CEUs will be submitted in your CEU center. And then it talks about the checklist and everything else. Now, how do we earn CEUs? How do we get CEUs? Well, AHIMA has their online journal as well, which has, I believe it does have like a quizzes in there that you can do. You can also go to conferences. Now they are having virtual and in-person conference. They haven't opened up registration for their annual conference that will be in October. And it's over in Ohio this year, but they haven't opened it yet, but they do promise that it will be in person and in virtual, okay? You can earn CEUs by attending those events. Now, depending on how many classes that you go to is dependent upon how many CEUs you will collect when you are going to those types of things. So that's something to keep in mind. AHIMA also has CEUs available on the website by taking their course and then their quiz. And if you are a member, you do get free ones attached to your membership. I believe it is 4 that you get when you become a member. So that's a little bit less that you'll have to come up with. If you get 4, then you have to get 16 and you have the 2 years to find those 16 other CEUs if you only have one certification. So it's very important to know that when you're going to like these other programs and things like that, sometimes people will go to sites like HCPro. When I was in my CDIP boot camp, I went and took it through HCPro, and they do offer AHIMA approved CEUs, and so that was how I was able to get all of my CEUs that I needed. And so I went through 2 boot camps, and there was 14 on one and 19 on the other. So that was a really good deal for me. And it's just all at one time, and I didn't have to worry about any of my CEUs now. So I'm all caught up, okay, because I was able to get it all in one sitting. Any CEUs that you earn before you get certified do not count. and that is for either association, AHIMA or AAPC. CEUs must be earned after you get your certification and during your recertification period, okay? So if it is within the 2 years, right, then you're okay. If it was before or if it is after, it does not count. So that is something to keep in mind. There are some people who get very excited because they're students and they say, well, Blue, I have all of these CEUs already. Do you have your certification? No, not yet. But when I do, I'm going to have all of mine ready. Oh, no, 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 no. It has to be earned after you get your certification. So that is something that you guys got to know. A lot of people don't talk about that either, okay? There's a lot of really good opportunities for continuing education, and sometimes you have to put out money. Sometimes you can find free ones. Please do not ask me where to find free ones, because I have said many times you can go on LinkedIn. There's a lot of leads there. You can also Google and see where you can find free CEUs. Now you may be thinking, Blue, why are you being so mean? Why are you not telling us where to find free CEUs? Because I have been taken advantage of before for sharing information, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So unfortunately, a lot of other people are going to be impacted by this, but that's just something that it's the reality of the situation. So they are out there. There are some low-cost CEUs, again, easily found by Googling. You know, there's a lot of information out there when it comes to CEUs, and you can go to the associations. But be prepared to spend money when it comes to maintaining your credentials. Because when you do, at least you'll be prepared. It's not like you're trying to scramble at the last minute. I got an email from somebody who, you know, is almost at the end of their 2-year time to report their CEUs, hasn't reported. Where can I find free CEUs? I can't, guys. This is your responsibility. You know this the second you get your CEU, your credential, that you're going to have to earn these CEUs. And if no one told you, I have posted it many times on my channel about CEUs, explaining what they are and how important it is and where to find and that kind of thing. And again, you know, it's just, you have to be out there doing your research as well, okay? So, you know, AAPC has their meetings, and they have CEUs that you can get for attending those meetings. And, you know, AHIMA has their capabilities of being able to get CEUs as well. So if you're an AHIMA member, there's resources out there. Check your member center, especially if you are a member. This is an expensive field, which is why I tell you guys to be very particular about the additional credentials that you're trying to add on. It's not just about getting the training or taking the test or having a so-called impressive name. Because even me, being a veteran coder since 2008, I am not impressed when I see a slew of credentials behind somebody's name. I am impressed when they start sharing their knowledge and I hear them and I can understand, you know, like what they're saying, and that is how I am impressed. Credentials don't impress me. And, you know, if people know and understand medical coding, they won't be as easily impressed either. So that is something to keep in mind, because a lot of people will add on additional credentials to show off and keep up with the Joneses. This is for some. Now, this is not for all. I know for some it is because they want to be able to say that they're proficient in a separate thing, like CDI, clinical documentation integrity. That makes sense. So that's because it's completely separate from medical coding. You know, those are the types of things. If they're getting the degree designations, again, those are completely different from medical coding certifications. The degree programs have a very small portion, in both the associate's degree and the bachelor's degree, both of them have a very small portion of that program that is medical coding. And the only reason that they have that is because they can kind of have some kind of knowledge, but that is not what their focus is. You know, with the degree holders, they are really our managers, our leaders, and that is what their concentration in their training is. So that is something that you have to know when you're getting those degree designations. That's just my advice anyway. But I hope this video was helpful because, like I said, I know it is a lot of information when it comes to, well, you have to get CEUs and you have to be a member and you have to do all of this, but this is a reality that we have. And I encourage you guys to pick up the phone, call the customer service hotline. AAPC, I've been told, has a great customer service hotline. AHIMA, I have not had any issues, knock on wood, with my experiences with customer service on AHIMA. Some people have. My suggestion would be to just, end the call and call again, because you'll find somebody else who has a lot more knowledge about whatever question you're trying to ask. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up with this following note. Due to the volume of emails that I am getting lately, not everybody is going to get a response, and because of all the comments that I'm getting on the channel as well, not everybody will get a response back. So if you are commenting a question, if you are emailing a question that I have done an episode on, there is a good chance that you are not going to get a response because, again, of the volume of email. Now, please take a look through my videos. There are so many videos, and I have done lives where it's a little bit longer, I get it, but I have also done a lot of like pre-filmed shows like this one that they're a little bit shorter, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. I'm from Texas and I talk. That's what I do. I don't make quick videos, so don't ask me to make quick videos. I've been asked that before too. Oh, you need to shorten it. I'm not going to shorten anything, because the second you try to shorten things, people are lost and they really don't know. I try to give as much detail as I possibly can because I'm trying to help y'all. That's all. If you don't want my help, there's other places that you can go to and see if you can get help from them. So anyway, guys, if this video was helpful for you, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.